guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm gonna show you how I pulled off this look. I posted it up on my Instagram maybe 2 weeks ago, I can't recall. Posted it up a while ago and a lot of you were really interested. I'm basically just gonna show you how I pull it off using the Morphe x James Charles palette. So if you're interested, stay tuned. So I'm pretty much just starting off with a bare face. I'm gonna do my eyebrows off camera. Yeah, I'm back, you guys. I've just finished doing my eyebrows. As you can see, I used the NYX micro brow pencil in the shade Espresso. Next step, I'm gonna go in with some eyeshadow primer. Today I'm gonna be using the, don't know if you can see it, I'm gonna be using the Milani eyeshadow primer. I'm gonna pop that on my eyelids. And the palette that I'm gonna be using, it's especially important just to help the eyeshadow and the pigments in there stick to my eyelid a little bit better, and it helps make the colors pop just a little bit more. It's also really great because it creates a barrier between the skin and the makeup. That way you're less prone to getting breakouts. First up, I'm going to be using my Morphe x James Charles palette. So first shade we're going to go into is this dark violet purple shade. And often best to pack on the shadows and then blend. I'm outlining my crease with the darkest shade first. And yeah, that looks good. So first question is, when did you start doing makeup? I started doing makeup when I was 11 years old. My parents had this habit of buying me Amazon gift cards on my birthday, just because they didn't know exactly what to get me on. Didn't want to risk getting me the wrong thing. So they would buy me these $50 Amazon gift cards and be like, go ham, buy whatever you want off of the Amazon website. And the first thing I ever purchased was this eyeshadow palette. I think it was probably really low quality, but I thought it was the best thing ever when I first bought it. And my friends used to gas me up. I'm using this shade and this shade. Kind of alternating between the two. Next question. When is your birthday? My birthday is October 9th. Nothing really special happens on that day, except my birthday, but next question. What star sign are you? I am a Libra. What's your favorite color? My favorite color is purple, but not this, not any of these shades of purple. It's more of like a light lavender lilac purple that I like. What's your lucky number? I don't think I have a lucky number, but I have a favorite number, and it would be 7. Do I have any pets? I have a dog. His name is Sheba. He's a really cute guy. Absolutely love him to death. We got him a couple of months ago, and he was originally supposed to be a guard dog, but he got so used to people that he's not really threatening anymore, so he's a sweetheart. Where am I from? I am from Nairobi, Kenya. But it also depends on who's asking. I'm in Kenya and I'm talking to fellow Kenyans or people who are really familiar with Kenya. And they ask me the same question, I say Machakos, Kenya, because everybody's from Nairobi, Kenya. It's the capital city. But anytime people within Kenya ask me, I have to be sort of more specific. When they ask it in regards of like where your family's from. And my family's from Machakos, Kenya. What languages do you speak? I speak English, Swahili, Kambao, but I don't speak it very often. My family often says that I have an accent when I speak it, so yeah, I kind of avoid doing that. I also speak Spanish. I did Spanish for like 7 years before college. Before I started learning Spanish, I learned French because it was like a required part of the Kenyan curriculum. Just wanted to speed things up a bit. I basically did this eye the same way I've done this eye, so don't worry, you haven't missed anything. Still gonna take this dark violet shade, and I'm going to pop it on the lower lash line just to create some cohesiveness with the entire look. Anyway, I'm using my Morphe x Jaclyn Hill JH42 brush just to pack it onto the bottom. Then I'm gonna take my Morphe JH33 brush and I'm gonna go back into the two light shades that I was using before, and basically using the same technique. I'm just gonna use the lighter color to blend out the darker purple shade. Apparently purple shades are really difficult to formulate. I've always noticed that when like companies do purples, when they get it wrong, they get it so wrong. Like it looks ashy to some extent, but when they get it right, it turns out so good. I'm just gonna take my Morphe JH41 brush. It's this eyelid packer brush. It's pretty nice and dense. And I'm gonna go into the purple shimmer shade in here and spritz it onto the brush to get more payoff. The shimmer is just, oh, look at that. Are you seeing that? Beautiful. It looks foily and so beautifully metallic. You can go in with your finger if you'd like, but I'm just using the brush for more precision. For an extra pop, and pop some of that there shade on. Kind of drag it out to the lid and get it down to the lower lash line as well. Almost forgot, I gotta pop it on my brow bone as well. Who is your favorite comedian? Richard Ayoade. He's this British comedian and he is very witty. I don't think I've ever seen him engage in an instance of physical humor. He mainly relies on his wit and his cleverness, and I like the fact that he's able to sort of like spontaneously come up with jokes. He's quick on his feet. And those are the eyes done. I'm just gonna do my face off camera and I'll be right back. I'm done. Next question is, any good Black Lives Matter book or podcast? It would depend on what you want to gain out of that reading or listening experience. If you want to learn or like want to gain more insight into the Black experience in America and like how pervasive and how harmful microaggressions can be, then I would suggest reading Citizen by Claudia Rankin. It's this collection of freeform poetry that sort of comes together to form this really cool narrative on this one woman's experience being Black in the US. I don't know, depending on where you're coming from, depending on what you know, you might learn something. It's a brilliant book. Podcast recommendations, I don't listen to a lot of podcasts, to be honest. So, I don't know. Do you enjoy being a student of your university? For the most part, I do enjoy being a student at my university. I think that the people and the experiences there are really cool. Obviously, at any university, you're gonna have your negative experiences, but I think that one's experience of being at an institution depends on how they perceive it. You could be doing really well from the outside, like everyone could think that you're the most amazing person ever, but as long as you're feeling bad about yourself, then you're gonna come away from that having accomplished so much but not feeling too good. And you know, on the other side, you could have somebody who's doing absolutely horribly on paper, but as long as they feel good about themselves, then they're gonna come away having a good experience. So my perception of my university right now is, for the most part, good. I feel about campus opening back up next semester. I feel conflicted. Obviously gonna be different, even if a vaccine comes out and everybody sort of goes back to normal and social distancing guidelines are reversed. Things are not gonna be the same because everyone's gonna come out, at the very least, I think to some extent germophobic and more aware of like how they interact with others. So I'm conflicted because things are gonna change, but I'm also very relieved about the prospect of being back on campus because to me it gives me some sense of normalcy. I know that I work a lot better by being on campus just because I have my peers around. I know that I can always go to, learning centers if I need any help. I can always go to tutoring centers. I can interact with my professors one-on-one if I need to do so. So, very conflicted. Very conflicted. I hope you're doing well. Nice to meet ya and stay safe. Ma'am, I do not know you, but wherever you are and whoever you are, I hope you're staying safe as well. How do you stay looking cute as hell, queen? Drop that skincare, sis. In terms of my skincare, I don't know. It's the melanin, sis. The melanin it just makes everything a whole lot better. But for the most part, I do cleanse on a daily basis, not exfoliate on a daily basis because that can be quite harmful for the skin. It creates like little micro tears that can make you more susceptible to getting acne and pimples and all sorts of things. So I avoid exfoliating every day. I do moisturize. I think moisturizing is really important. And I have oily combination skin. I use an oil-free moisturizer. I think it's from Neutrogena. And I make sure that I drink that water and I mind my business. Next question. What is the one thing you look for most in a partner? It's a good sense of self, because that carries into so many things about that individual. Like, I feel like if you know who you are as a person and you're confident in your abilities as a person and just like your character, then it carries into how you carry yourself. People who are really comfortable with themselves tend to be a lot kinder to themselves, and they're a lot kinder to others as a result. They just don't have the constant need to prove themselves to the world. I feel like that angst that comes with that can be quite stressful. So, somebody with a good sense of self. What is my favorite thing about my university? Definitely the people. Going to college is one of the most formative parts of one's life. It's where you really get to know yourself and you get to form your network of friends. And so, I've met people from all parts of the country and all parts of the world, and each person brings, their own set of unique experiences and unique stories. And so I think that's my favorite part about my university, just being able to interact with people with different energies and different passions, and just being immersed in that environment. I like being able to meet new people and learn new things from them. I know that sounds very like cliche, but the people. What are your thoughts on going back to school for fall? Same question. I feel very conflicted about it, but also very excited. I'm oddly really excited about it because, yeah, it's gonna bring its own set of challenges and obstacles. I think the worst thing for me, after, going through a hard time or like going through, a challenge, I think the worst thing that can possibly happen to somebody is them coming out of it having learned nothing. I think mistakes are necessary. Mistakes and, negative experiences are there for a reason, and they're there to teach you. If you could date one university affiliated individual, who would it be and why?
Let me.
Okay, this is embarrassing, guys. This is so embarrassing, but I think it's about time. I have a crush on this one guy. He's really tall. I think he's like over 6 foot. He's smart, he's charming, he's really kind. I've interacted with him a couple of times, and you know what? I'm just gonna drop his name. His name is Wolfie. And I'm telling you, I know y'all about to be mad at me, but I've met him a couple of times, you know, he speaks to my soul. And that's all that matters. Especially that time he went, I felt that. A lot of people be mad, a lot of people are judging me, but like, you know, jealousy is a disease and get well soon. Period. What are your best and worst memories at university? Let's start with with worst. Probably really difficult midterms that have just made me question everything. I can't pinpoint one specific worst experience, and I can't do the same for best experience. Some of the best experiences I've had at university I've associated with my friends. If you could change one thing in your life, what would it be? Probably be my name. I've never felt like a Cindy. Like, I've always felt so dissociated from my name. I do not know why. I do not know why. I had this discussion with my mom once, and she said that she regrets naming me Cindy. It's not because she dislikes the name, it's just that she wished she'd named me something more meaningful, and to her something more meaningful would have been biblical. So a name like Ruth or Esther or Mary, something of that sort. Just never felt like I've never felt like a Cindy. I know that sounds weird, but I've never felt like a Cindy. If I could change my name, I would probably use my middle name as my first name. And my middle name is Monet. And it's just a very Eurocentric name. And anytime my friends in Kenya use that name, I just feel like, ugh. It doesn't fit in the context of like who I am. Cindy feels like a easygoing, happy-go-lucky kind of girly girl, and I wouldn't say that I am that. This is a question you would not want to be asked. This kind of question is a question that I would not want to be asked. Thank you for taking the time to type it out, though I really appreciate it. What will you eat the night you graduate, and who will it be with, assuming it can be anything or anyone? I'm assuming I would be surrounded by my family. So I would probably go for something Kenyan just because that's what they would want, and that's also what I would want. I find Kenyan food is just more palatable for me. Specifically, what food I would want chapati. It's basically a flatbread. What is your take on not just being black but being African/Kenyan in the US? It's a pretty interesting experience. This is a very loaded question for me. Just so many angles to being African in the US. I don't think I can explain it all in one video, but I'm gonna try my best. Living in the US for 9 years now. I first came here when I was 10. Growing up in Kenya, for the most part, I always went to school, or like I was always surrounded by black Kenyans. I'd never been in the same academic environment as a Caucasian individual. You know, if there were any non-black individuals in our classes, it was mostly people from India, and those people were Kenyan Indians, as in like their parents were from the Indian subcontinent, but they had been raised in Kenya, so we considered them very much Kenyan. And we didn't treat them any differently, at least to my recollection. Yeah, I was never made to feel black. Like, I didn't know I was black until I moved to the US, honestly speaking. If there's any division, it's often across tribal line. But I digress. Anyway, I didn't know I was black. A lot of my classmates were really vicious. Not all of them, but some of them were just really vicious. I mean, people would refer to me as a baboon. You know, a lot of like 6th grade, I mean, a lot of kids would tell me to go back to where I came from. That's just that duality of coming from an environment where my skin color didn't matter a lot, or didn't matter at all, to an environment where my skin color would basically determine how I would be perceived, how I would be treated. I think that's something that really hit me hard, and I mean, like 9 years later, it's something that I sometimes still struggle to come to grips with. On the better side of things, I think being a person in the African diaspora and being a member of that community has been really, really beneficial, in the sense that, you know, we all of us, we recognize that we are away from home, you know. I always find solace in the fact that, like, if anything goes wrong on campus, always be able to reach out to somebody. The Kenyan community is very, very large, very, very widespread. Like, sometimes I get surprised. Like, you can go anywhere, and odds are you're gonna find a Kenyan to any institution, to any anywhere you're gonna find a Kenyan, and we look out for each other. We really do. And we are out here, you know, and I'm always amazed by how hardworking and ambitious a lot of my Kenyan peers are here. And so that's something that drives me to do better. It's a double-sided coin. Everything with everything you're gonna find, it's double-sided. Well, we've reached the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!